Today I'm going to show you how to simply roast a chicken. There's no crazy tips or tricks in this recipe. It's pretty straightforward, but there's a few additional steps that I think you should take that'll give you better results. And I'm going to walk you through them in this recipe. First thing you got to do is get yourself a chicken. A 3.5 pounder is perfect for a family of 3, and it's still small enough that it's tender. I'm going to grab myself some salt and pepper. Notice I've pre-ground the pepper so I don't have to handle a pepper mill with chicken hands. Now I'm going to prop the bird up kind of like this. See? And I'm going to season the inside with my salt and pepper. Be pretty liberal here. Save yourself some pepper for the outside of the bird later though. There, we're good. Okay, now we need to remove the wishbone, which is located in the front of the bird right here. This will make it easier to remove the breast when you go to carve it up. To do that, grab yourself a knife, preferably one with a thinner blade like this. Chef knife will do, but thinner blade will make it easier to run the knife around the bone. So you're just going to make an incision. You can feel it, see? Feel the bone, just make an incision up. Watch out for your fingers. And then down the other side, just like this. And then you're just going to reach in and just pull it out. Sometimes it comes out in 2 pieces, sometimes 1. Just make sure you get both bones. See, this one's split. So there's 1 and 2. Here's one of those steps I was telling you about earlier. We're gonna stuff our bird with some delicious things. Come here, check this out. We've got some fresh lemon wedges, some dried bay leaves, a few of those, a handful of garlic cloves with the skin on, and a lot of fresh thyme. I'm just gonna shove these guys in here in no particular order. Got the lemon, some of the garlic, bay leaves, and then finally, all of that thyme. Yeah. Great. All right, now that we've seasoned the inside of the bird, stuffed it with a bunch of delicious things, and removed the wishbone, it's time for that next additional step, and that's to truss your chicken. What that does is it pushes everything together so the chicken cooks evenly. That way you don't overcook your breasts, aka your white meat. You don't undercook your thigh and your leg, also known as the dark meat. All right, what you're gonna wanna do is grab some butcher's twine like this. About 3 feet will do. You can get it at just about any supermarket. Make sure it's even on both sides and then go under the chicken butt, around the outsides of the legs, crisscross, then go underneath the legs like that and pull tight, okay? Bring it back along the sides of the bird, keep in tension, and then we're gonna flip this bird over, just like that. Now, I know this camera angle kind of sucks and my hairy arm is totally in the way, so let me tell you what I'm doing here. I'm just looping the tail end of the twine through 3 times, kind of like you would do for a triple overhand knot. I'm gonna pull nice and tight, just like this. Then double knot. So this is just below the neck, okay? Flip it back over, and you've got a beautifully trussed bird. This extra slack back here, you just cut this off, okay? And then with the wings, what you're gonna wanna do with the wings, just take the tip and fold it back underneath the bird like that. I have an amputee on this side, so I can't do the same thing there, so I think I'm just gonna take this wing and I'll just place it right underneath the twine. There we go. Now, the final step is to season the outside of the bird. We're not gonna oil it at all. There's plenty of fat that'll render from the skin to make it nice and brown and crispy. So grab that salt from earlier and just generously season the outside of the chicken. Yeah, that looks pretty darn good. Can't forget the black pepper. Got plenty of that from earlier. And just make sure you got even coverage here along the sides, the top, and for the bottom, neat little trick. Got plenty of seasoning still left on the board, so just move your chicken around, pick up as much of that as you can, and that'll take care of the bottom of the bird. Maybe even just grab some on the thighs. There. I think we're ready to go in the oven. All right, I use a cast iron pan when I roast chickens. That leaves me enough room around the bird for vegetables like potatoes or carrots or some other root vegetables. It's spring, so maybe some asparagus. That'd be a good idea. But since today is all about the chicken, we're not gonna be doing the vegetables. I'm gonna put my chicken in the cast iron pan. And we're gonna go straight into the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna roast the bird for about 15 to 20 minutes per pound. So this guy should take about an hour or so. All right, this bird's been in for about an hour and 10 minutes. I checked it at an hour and it wasn't quite there, so we're gonna do another temperature check here. Our target is 160, and we're at about 161, which is good. So the thickest part of the breast is at 161, and in between the leg thigh area and the body, we're looking for about the same temp. We're at 162, so I'd say that's pretty good. I'm gonna move this over here, this chicken, and we're gonna transfer it to a different pan so the bottom doesn't keep cooking from the cast iron. There we go. Perfect. So I'm gonna let this rest for about 10 to 15 minutes before I carve it up. So while the chicken's resting over here, I'm gonna show you how to make some quick pan gravy. And we're gonna get some medium heat going on this cast iron. There's a bunch of chicken fat still in the pan here and some fond, which is this brown stuff that's kind of stuck to the bottom of the pan. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of chicken stock to start. Just a little bit, a couple tablespoons maybe. And then I'm gonna add some Wondra flour. This stuff's wonderful. It doesn't clump, so it's nice to use when making gravies. You can go straight into the pan with it. Wondra is just flour that's been cooked and then repulverized, but it still is a great thickening agent. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a whisk and I'm just pulling some of the fond off the bottom of the pan and mixing it in with the stock and the Wondra flour that I added. You can use all-purpose flour as well if you want to, but just make sure that you try to work out any clumps. You can actually mix a little stock and flour together before it goes in the pan if you're just using all-purpose. This is starting to thicken up already. You can see, it's starting to tighten up. So that's when I'm gonna start adding some more of this stock, okay? And I'm gonna whisk while I'm doing that. Just whisking to incorporate everything. Just like so. And if I need some more Wondra flour after this, I'll just sprinkle some more in and I'll keep adding more until the gravy tightens up to the consistency that I want it. All right, I would say I've added maybe a cup and a half here. I'm gonna let this come to a simmer and we'll see how thick it gets. All right, you can see how this is thickened up. It's simmered for just a minute or so. It looks great. I'm gonna give it a taste and adjust the seasoning as I need to here. Definitely need some salt. So, a little bit of that, a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. Cool. Give it another whisk. I'm gonna kill the heat here. And let's see how it tastes now. Perfect, perfect. All right, let's carve up the chicken. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is remove the butcher's twine from the chicken. It's pretty easy to do. Just cut the twine. You probably have to do it in a few places here. Maybe not. Look at that, all in one shot. So, twine is off. Let's break down the bird. Use a sharp knife, very sharp knife if you can, preferably one with a thin edge. And we're gonna take the leg thigh areas first, and then we'll take the breast. To do that, run your knife between the breast and the leg. Right, that little opening right there. Okay, just like so. And it'll open up for you, all right? Just cut the skin, and it'll open up nicely for you. Just run your knife along this bone right here, okay? And you're gonna come to a joint that connects the thigh to the body. Lift the bird up slightly, and just kinda pull that joint apart. And then you can just run your knife right through it. Now, there's an oyster muscle right here that you don't want to forget. It's probably not going to come off with the thigh, but you can just grab it with your hand and eat it because it's delicious. Do that with the other side. Again, run the knife between the breast and the leg, and you'll see that it'll come apart just like that. Then continue to run the knife down the side of this bone right here, and it'll expose that joint. You can just pop and pull. I left some on the bird. So I'm going to eat it. And don't forget this oyster right here. This stuff's so good. Okay, now it's time to remove the breast. There is a bone that runs from front to back between the breasts, and you're gonna wanna run your knife down one side of that bone, okay? And you can use your finger to kind of help push the breast away. Okay, just like so. Just don't cut yourself. carefully. See, you can kind of pull the breast away from its bone. And since we removed that wishbone, it's gonna be really easy to remove this breast from the body. Just follow your knife down through the skin, and then when you get to this joint bone right here, you're just gonna push your knife right through it. It's as simple as that. And I usually cut these in half, and I'll leave the wing and drumstick attached to this one. Let's do the other side. Again, run the knife down that side of the bone, and carefully with your fingers, and your knife, you can kind of just pry the breast away from its bone, like this. Okay, then run your knife down through the skin, just like so. When you get down to this joint, okay, the joint right here, you're just gonna push your knife right through it, just like that. Check it out. I'm gonna cut this one in half too. Cool. All right, the last piece of surgery that we need to perform here is to remove the leg from the thigh. And there's a joint right down here that you just go right through. It's that simple. Let's do it again. There is a joint between the leg and the thigh, and it's hard to see it right now because the chicken's cooked, but if you just kind of go 50-50, you'll hit it. All right, so now we have 2 legs, 2 thighs, 4 pieces of breast, 2 of which have the drumstick and the wing attached. I'm gonna transfer these over to a platter, grab my gravy, and be ready to dig in. The breasts first, thigh leg, just like so. Another breast, thigh, and leg. Sweet. All right, let's get this out of the way. Bring the chicken on over. I put the gravy in a pitcher here, just makes it a little easier to pour tableside. And if you had roasted some vegetables in the pan with the chicken, you can just place that around the platter here. And if you want to pour the gravy on the chicken before you serve it, great. If not, again, tableside is just fine as well. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you next time.